Hey there, Michelle. How's it going today? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to talk about reading and books.
I am
Yeah.
too. Do you read a lot?
You know what? I read a lot of news on my phone,
Right.
but I just started a new book, a new novel.
Oh.
It's actually it's good. It's a really good. It's called What is the What? It's about the war in Sudan, a boy
Oh,
in
wow.
Sudan. It's sad, but it's really good. It's really well written.
Yeah.
So I've been getting back into novels, before bed, that kind of thing.
Right.
So
Because
yeah,
aren't you starting to put your phone outside of your
yes.
room? Yeah. Oh, you're so
Yes, still
strong.
doing that, and it's really good. It feels great to not just it's like in my mind, phones and bed do not mix anymore. So
Good for you. That is quite an accomplishment, I have
it's
to
big.
say.
It's actually not as hard as I thought since
Yeah.
it's the problem was when I was using my alarm clock on the phone, that was hard, right? Because then you need your phone for the alarm,
Right.
but
Oh,
if you
yeah. You
use
got
another
your new
alarm clock.
alarm clock, right?
Yes, it all works together. So
That's
I'm
good.
super excited, Michelle, to talk about books today,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
because today we are doing part one of a mini series.
Yeah.
And this is started because a listener asked us a really great question about a very popular expression. So, guys, this is part one of the series. Now, the second part is not going to be on the All Ears English podcast, Lindsay. Where is it going to be?
The second part is going to be over on Business English, our other podcast, guys. It's going to be on there later in the week. So if you want to complete the series, close the loop, right? Go over, open in your search bar, Business English Podcast. You will see the yellow, and you can go and hit that follow button so you can get the second episode in the series later this week. All right.
Yep, exactly. All right. So this question today comes to us. This was from YouTube, guys. You can ask your questions over there. So this is from Hina3155. Would you like to read the question, Lindsay?
Yes, here's the question. I definitely would like you to share some classic expressions with us. One of the expressions I learned before is you can't judge a book by its cover. Oh,
Mm,
yes. It's a good one, Michelle.
it's a very good one. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this today. Lindsay, what does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, it basically means if you think about books or many things in life, you can't judge them and their quality or substance based on what you see on the superficial level, on the surface,
Yes.
right? Based on the cover. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So yeah, it's your perception from the beginning. Lindsay, do you try and live by this philosophy?
Of course, yeah, and many times you learn. I think that it is very human to judge. I mean, it comes back to
Mhm,
our evolutionary brains, right? When
mhm.
we were protecting ourselves from the tiger in caves, we made snap judgments. Is this animal safe, right? But now we live normal lives, and it actually, I still see my mind doing this,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Everyone does, of
mhm,
course, but
mhm,
then life always corrects me. It's
mhm,
never what I imagined at the
mm,
beginning. The
mm.
person or the situation. Yeah,
Right, right.
it's fascinating.
It is true. I mean, can you I mean, I'm sure we've all done this where we have judged
Yeah,
something by its cover and then actually realized we were wrong.
totally.
But I think yeah, as I've gotten older, I have learned to take my time with how I perceive things.
Yeah,
I don't want to be harsh to judge or harsh to react. I try to be a little just breathe a little bit. I think I talked
yeah,
about this recently, with moving. Just you don't know who is going to be your next best friend, and maybe you meet someone and you wouldn't even think or realize, and then all of a
yeah,
sudden you realize, wait a second, this person is we got pretty close. So, it just
yeah,
goes
it's
for
true.
so many things in life.
It's so true. And imagine if we do judge and then we cut off opportunities to know people or to try things that how much we would lose of the richness of life,
Yeah.
right? If we so it's just a great saying and it still continues to be true,
Right.
right?
And more in the book sense, right? It comes from this
Yeah.
idea of, do you ever see a book and you're just looking and you think it has a beautiful cover? Some books, their covers are really beautiful, and then you want to read them, and then they might not always be that good. Or maybe a book has a
Right.
boring cover and it's the best
Right,
book
right,
you've
right.
ever read. So, do you? when you are deciding to read an actual book, we're talking more literally now, do you
Yeah.
judge a book by its cover? Do you let the cover guide you?
Oh, no. Well, I try to get title ideas from smart people, people that have
So
similar
you get
interests to me
recommendations.
there are entire podcasts that just do book recommendations and
Yeah.
reviews, right?
Yeah.
You could get it there from any newspapers you read. But yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, the human mind judges even just colors.
Yeah.
We create an association with a color. I
Right.
mean, yellow is the color of energy, at least in the US, but this could be cultural too.
Mhm.
Yellow, our color, is the color of energy, enthusiasm, excitement, and that
Yeah.
actually reflects who we are,
Right.
which is great. But other people might have different colors associated with their brand that might be attracting or detracting people,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
I don't know. Fascinating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is interesting. I do think I am a little bit guilty of with an actual book looking for the best cover. I'll say there was this book I never ended up having time to read it, but I remember it had the most beautiful cover I had ever seen.
That's so
And I just
funny.
you get excited. Sometimes I'll have books at home and then I see a pretty cover outside at a bookstore and I think, oh, I want to read that, but I have these books at home, so
That's hilarious.
yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
So, anyway, today though, we are going to share some more idioms dealing with books. So,
Okay.
I'm
Good.
excited for this one. And like we said, there's going to be part two of these because there's a lot of good ones that you can use in business. So
Ooh.
definitely listen out for that. Um,
I'm curious what comes out in the business episode too. Very
yes,
interesting. Yeah.
exactly. All right. So, Lindsay, what's the first one today?
All right, so this one is good. This one is modern. I hear this a lot. An open book. This is basically someone who's comfortable expressing themselves. They are open to sharing things that maybe not everyone would share. I feel like usually people will say this about themselves,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
So somebody might say something like, "Ask me all about it. I'm an open book."
Yeah, it's so true. I feel like you wouldn't ask, "Are you an open book?"
No, 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 no. Well, I'm about to
Oh.
ask you that, but
Oh,
just for
you were gonna ask me now. That's fine.
literally, that's what I have
Our
written. No,
weird
no, but
conversations
this
over here.
it is a weird
Yeah.
topic. You wouldn't. It is true. You wouldn't ask somebody this, but I am
Unless you're an
curious.
English teacher, you
Right,
wouldn't.
exactly.
Yeah.
Lindsay,
Yeah.
do you consider yourself? Are you someone who likes to share things, or do you keep kind of
Yeah,
things
I
close?
think I'm pretty sherry. I'm pretty sherry. I don't really have that much shame in things, like different circumstances that are going on, and I like to connect in some well, obviously you can't be tone deaf in the sense that you need to make sure you're sharing the right thing with the right person, right?
Right.
At the right time.
Yes.
But I think if we share a little something that's going on in our lives, we can get closer to people, which
Yes.
is great, you know?
Absolutely. I don't think that we could be in our jobs if we weren't
Yeah,
open books, right? And I think that maybe
totally.
that's one of the things I hope people like about the show is that we're
Yeah,
not just teaching, we're sharing about ourselves, we're sharing our thoughts, right? We're open
totally.
books.
Well, it is true. I mean, when we first launched our podcast back in 2013, I felt like looking at all the other ESL podcasts, it was the opposite.
Yeah,
Everyone was kind of just very professional and buttoned up and serious. But this is not a serious thing, right? Of course, we want to improve, but we want to have fun and we want to connect because that's what conversation and communication is about. So we
absolutely.
decided to do things a bit differently here at All
Yes,
Ears
I love
English.
it.
Yeah.
And speaking of open books, we are going to be asking you guys a question on our Spotify poll today. So stay tuned till the end because we've been doing these really fun polls, right, Lindsay, where we ask a
Oh, yeah.
question and then we're able to interact with our listeners on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
So please
So
listen
cool.
till the end because we're going to be sharing that poll.
All right, so cool. Is there another phrase regarding books,
Let's
Michelle, that we
do
need to
it.
know?
Yes, this is in my book,
Oh,
right?
yeah, this one's really good.
In
Yeah.
my book. So that's how you see things. It's almost as if
Mhm.
we all have our own books that are not real, but
Yeah.
it's your set of rules, how you see things, how you perceive things, what's okay, what's not okay.
Yes.
Lindsay, so what's an
Yes.
example here?
Okay, so here's a sample sentence. In my book, it's wrong to ask someone for a favor when you have no intention of returning it. So this is a really useful phrase to kind of assert your values.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
To show what you believe in, who you are, and share what interject a little bit about what you think is maybe right or wrong.
100%, 100%. And it's good to there are moments when we need to be able to do that. We
Right.
kind of want to own what we believe, and
Yes.
so this is useful. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now let's go to the university halls, the college dormitories. Hit the books. Hit
Hit
the
the
books.
books. All right. So yeah, to hit the books, it doesn't mean you're physically going up to the books and smacking them.
Well, you
Hit
might be. Who
the
knows?
maybe. I mean, maybe if you're really frustrated.
Yeah.
Hit the books is to means to study, to do your
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how tired we are, we have to hit the books. The exam is in 3 days. Rochelle, do you remember in college you had what they call it, like reading week or something like that, where you had a time to prepare for your exams? Did you not get that? Was that
I
just in
don't
my
think we called
school?
it reading week. I think we just
Oh,
oh, that does sound familiar.
reading
I don't know if
period
it
or
was
something?
called reading week, but yeah, I do know
Yeah.
about that exam prep week. Maybe it was called something like
Exam
that.
prep week. Yeah, I think they might have called that in my school because my school is a little bit traditional Southern, so maybe that's what they used to call it back in the
Reading week.
day.
Oh, I like that.
Reading week.
I like
Yeah,
that.
so I remember where everyone you just get a full week or 3 or 4 days to
Yep.
just study and prepare for that, and then the exams start to come,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Oh man.
So
And it really helps for exams if you're book smart, right?
yeah, it for sure helps, not necessarily in life, but it
Yes.
but in exams. So being book smart is the opposite of street smart, right? So she's very book smart, but she's not very savvy when it comes to getting around town and learning about the culture of a new place.
Mhm.
Yeah, and this is going to be linked to our poll for today,
It is.
right?
It is. Lindsay, so yeah, this idea of book smart or street smart, I think ideally people have some of both, but sometimes people are very in want more in one or the other. I think it more
Yeah,
so happens that somebody may be very book smart but not very street smart.
right, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
So what do you think
Yeah.
about yourself?
Not brilliant either way, but I have a little bit of both. Enough to get let's just say enough to get by on both sides. Yeah.
You're so funny. Oh my gosh.
Thanks, Michelle. What about you?
Me too.
Where do you lean? Which direction do you lean in?
I would say I'm more street smart, but
Okay.
I'm enough book smart also to get by.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
able to graduate from school, my programs, and do
Right.
well. But I wouldn't say
Yeah.
I would. There are some people that they are able to do well with not even putting in that much work because they have this natural sense of being book smart. I'm not that
Right.
way.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I understand that. I studied a lot in college too. But no, it's true. I mean, I think in adult life, you learn, I think when you're in school, you think it's all about grades. And it is when you're in school, of course. But then you
Yeah.
hit adult life and you realize you only need a certain amount of natural intelligence. Then
True.
you can fill in the gaps, right?
Right.
With just learning on your own. And then it's really all about navigating life, which is
Right.
street smart. How do you
Right.
talk to people? How do you navigate a city? Like, how do you adapt to cultures? Right? This is more street smarts in a
Yep.
way.
Yep, exactly. So, well, this leads us to our Spotify poll. So, guys, listen in. So, the question is, are you more book smart or street smart?
I'm
So you
super
have to
excited to
choose
see.
one. We could put in a little bit of both, but that's
I
too
know.
easy. You got to
It's
choose
not.
one.
It's not fair that we
I
didn't
know.
choose one, and we're asking our listeners. But that's okay. We'll see what
All
our
right, I'm
listeners have
saying
to
for
say.
me, if I had to answer the poll, I would say street smart. Street smart.
Street smart. Okay.
What would you say?
Yeah, it's really
Have to
hard.
pick one.
I guess street smart too, Michelle.
I think
That's the
yeah.
same.
I think it is
Yeah,
street
more of
smart.
a like a wisdom about life, I guess, is
Yes.
probably.
Yes. So now that
All
we've
right.
answered, you have to answer too and pick one.
Yeah, I love it. Let's go into a role play, and
All
then our
right.
listeners can go and do that poll, and we will announce the results in a few episodes. Here we go.
Here we go. All
What's
right.
happening here, Michelle?
Okay. So here we are, study partners at school.
Mhm. All right. So, all right. Okay. So, are you ready to hit the books?
Oh, yeah, I guess. I don't love studying. I'm not very book smart naturally.
Well, you can do it. In my book, anyone can get good grades with a proper studying. I'll help you.
Oh, thanks.
And really, you can ask my help or my advice anytime. I'm an open book.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I know I seem like a partier, but you can't judge a book by its cover. I'm really just into studying and getting good grades. Oh, is that true? All right, here we go. So, what did I say here, Michelle, first?
You said, "Okay, so are you ready to hit the books?" And you could have
Mhm.
said, "Are you ready to study?" But instead,
Right.
you chose this.
Right. And again, we're not physically hitting any books.
No,
We're
no
just
one's
going to
hitting. No, we're not being violent here.
yes. Yes, we're going hard on studying, going
No books
all
were
in.
harmed in the making of that
No,
idiom. Yeah.
don't harm the books. Yes.
Okay.
And then you said, "Yes, I don't love studying. I'm not very book smart naturally."
And you
Mhm.
are now being very excited to motivate me. And
Yeah.
you said, "You can do it. In my book, anyone can get good grades with the proper studying." So it's basically
Yeah.
in your philosophy, in your mind.
Yeah. In my opinion, in my way
Yep.
of seeing the world. This is a
Yes.
really good one, guys. I feel like if you take away anything from today's episode, take away this one because
Mhm.
this could bring your connection moments to another level.
Yeah.
If you can state your opinion in a unique way like this. In my book, XYZ,
It
anything.
shares a lot about who you are, right? And what kind if
Totally.
when you use this, you're giving someone a little bit of an insight into how you think.
And you could use this to talk about politics, right? And
Mhm.
the politics season is heating up right now. You can talk about
Yep.
politics. You can talk about
Politics.
what's happening in family dynamics, your opinions about so many things, Michelle, it could be used for. All right?
Right. And
Yeah.
then you said you can ask my help or advice anytime. I'm an open book.
Yes, I'm an open book. That means I'm totally up for talking about what's going on in my life. Okay?
That's right.
And then you said, "I
Yep.
know." Oh. Yeah, I said, "I know I seem like a partier, but you can't judge a book by its cover."
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So guys, of course we might not use all of these in one one conversation like this, but this gives you a pretty
Yeah.
good idea of how they're all used.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So, Michelle, any final takeaways for our listeners today? Anything they should keep in mind?
Yeah, well, it was a great question, and that's why we are going to do the second part of this series on the Business English podcast. So again, remember to follow that so you get that episode when it comes out. Overall, I just think these expressions are great for connection, especially things
100%.
like "in my book," "I'm an open book." These are
Yes.
it's interesting how all of them use how we've used this word book to mean so much about ourselves, actually.
Yeah, it is really interesting. So, guys, try one of these on your own in your next conversation with a native speaker and go open your search bar, find Business English Podcast, hit follow. We'll see you over there. All right. Good stuff,
Okay.
Michelle. You take
All
care.
right. All right. Bye,
All right.
Lindsay.
Bye.